Welcome to this week's edition of City View. Today we have a couple of very special guests on the show today, here in the beautiful City Council chambers, the Great Hall of Old Town Hall. And joining me today is the Mayor of Cork City. We have Declan Hurley, the man with the bling. And we also have the CEO of the county, Tim Lucy. And this is, I guess, day 3 of your tour here in Quincy, and I know you've been here a number of times, but yesterday we had the formal sign-in agreement here in the chamber, which is going to create economic opportunities, tourism opportunities, education opportunities for both sides of the Atlantic, and we're thrilled you're here. So maybe, Mayor, you could say a hello and talk a little bit about maybe a couple of minutes on your council, how that works, and how the mayor is selected in Cork City Council.
Thank you, Mayor Koch. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for your warm welcome and hospitality. I suppose being Mayor of Cork County is a very onerous position to be in, and this is my first time being Mayor of the great county of Cork. And we have 55 members in the county and in the council chamber, and those are elected by ballot by the community, by the different constituents. And
broken up by district?
Broken up by district. We have 9 municipal districts, and they're then divided up by population. So that breaks down into 55 members for Cork County Council. It's a diverse county council. It has a lot of, I suppose, strategic work, carries out a lot of strategic work. Economic development, of course, is one major pillar that we work within, sure. And that's one of the reasons why we're here this week, putting this partnership in place between the city of Quincy and Cork County. And again, it varies in the work. A lot of it is representing, I suppose, our constituents. As sure. Public representatives, we are elected by the people, and we represent the people on Cork County Council. And as members...
And you say it's broken down by population, so what's the total population of Cork County?
About 540,000 would be kind of a rough estimate of what the population would be. Yep. And as I say, it's a big county. It's the biggest county in Ireland. Yep. It has the biggest no road network, so obviously services would be kind of environmental roads, again economic development, and again that's all broken down into different segments of Cork County Council. And sure. We work very closely with the executive, and I work very closely with Tim here, the Chief Executive of Cork County Council. And again, it's about providing a quality service to our constituents. It's a very rewarding position to be in, and I'm very proud to be Mayor of the County of Cork for this year.
Well, glad you're here. And your sidekick here. Tim's the CEO, so the council hires your CEO.
Yes.
And Tim, you've been at it how long?
Nearly 4 years now.
4 years.
Nearly 4 years. So the relationship between the Chief Executive and the council sets the entire policy, whether that's zoning policy, land use policy, budgetary policy, housing policy, environmental policy, and then the Chief Executive effectively runs the organisation and runs the services for the entire county. Yeah. And as the Mayor is saying, to put the county into perspective, I suppose when you look at Ireland, everybody thinks of Dublin as the capital city. Right. Cork is the second greatest economic region outside of that. Yeah. We have a metropolitan region, which is highly urbanised, of about 300,000. That's within the 500,000 people. Inside in that, you've got the most magnificent harbour in the world. In fact, it's the second largest natural harbour in the world, second to Sydney Harbour. And that area in itself, to give you some idea of the economy down there, has 9 of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies in the world based there. Some of the greatest IT companies there, such as Apple, for instance. Apple has their European and Middle Eastern headquarters there, employing up to 6,000 people. Dell EMC has another 3,500 people. On the biopharma side, you've Eli Lilly, Pfizer's, quite a number of them there.
So with all that going on, and I know we've talked a little bit about unemployment is very low, the economy is very strong in Ireland. I know as we went through, I know Ireland went some tough years as well, not too far back, so you bounced back very well.
Absolutely.
So why Quincy?
Well, I suppose I came over here about probably 24 months ago to look at Boston, the economy, visited Cambridge, visited Quincy. I think why Quincy? First of all, I would say because of the people that we met here, to be quite honest with you. We are people, and Cork is renowned for its business acumen and its business relationships through developing relationships with people. And the reception we got here from your own City Council here, your executive, your City Councillors from the Chamber of Commerce here, from Quincy High School, Quincy College, all of that showed to us that we had a group of people over here who really wanted to make a partnership work. I think from an economic development point of view, there are clear synergies between us. I mean, your own focus at the moment in terms of your renewal of the city centre here and the focus on medtech and the focus on biopharma, your focus on food and tourism. I was amazed by the actual product of tourism here. I didn't realise that this was the home of two of the greatest US presidents, and we've just been seeing some of the sites here. From a tourism perspective, we have about 19 to 20% of all tourists that come into Ireland come to Cork. And we want to grow that to 25-30%, so we have an incredible product there, and there's a lot of learning between us. From an educational point of view, Cork Institute of Technology, who are one of the partners in this, they have about 15,000 students. Already today, very, very serious discussions between Quincy College and indeed Quincy High School with Cork Institute of Technology, and the commonalities between those are lay a really, really sound foundation for furthering relationships there.
Now we have, this city has been a city of immigrants for a couple of hundred years, so we're heavy Asian population today. Nearly 30% of our population is Asian, but you go back 100 years, 30% of our population was immigrant. And certainly the Irish community has been a big part of the history of the city and our heritage. So there's folks out there that aren't just from Cork. We got people from Galway and Kerry and all parts of Ireland. So, we're grateful for their contributions to our city, and we certainly accept them all. Without getting into the rivalries of the counties of Ireland, just want to set that straight. We got a lot of great folks here that claim their Irish heritage and that contribute on a regular basis to this great city. So back to the mayor. So tell us what you do for a living.
I suppose the real day job, I'm a dairy farmer. Back home I have a 60-acre farm with 60 cows in the middle of calving season at the moment, so it's all hands on deck. But it's great, I suppose, to have the diverse between political life and farming life. It gives both sides to, I suppose, a region that we are very, I suppose, intense in farming. Back in West Cork, where I come from, is the western periphery of the county. But it's great to relate, I suppose, being working with the people and communities, and community is very much at the heart of Cork County Council, and we do a lot of work on the ground with communities, and that's kind of my ethos as to why I got into, I suppose, local government, was to represent local communities and local people, and that's where I suppose draw my strength from, and I suppose that's why I've kind of, I suppose, reached the pinnacle of being mayor of the county, and my duty is to represent the people as best I can.
Yeah. I wanted to tee that up with my follow-up question to that. We're a pretty old, built-out city, so we're a dense city in the sense of, 17 square miles, but we're fairly built out. So the economic development we're going through and the building we're going through is everything is going vertical, of course, because there's no land left. And that's what I wanted to tee up next. So I know we've talked about these things the last couple of days, but for the folks that may be tuning in, talk to me about that whole land use, and is the pressure now getting such that it's pushing the farms out? Or is there policy over there that protects the farm at the same time generates new development?
I suppose from our point of view of the local authority, obviously all land use is identified. We have a county development plan which puts in place a plan for future development for the county, and that encompasses agricultural land, commercial land, industrial land. So the particular land is zoned for particular uses, particularly around maybe cities and towns and the metropolitan areas. But in general, the more rural areas wouldn't be, I suppose, threatened as much from development. But agriculture is going through a new phase at the moment. The milk quota regime has been abolished back home in Ireland, and that system whereby you were limited to what you could produce as a farmer from producing milk, so that now is gone. So the production of milk has gone up, so therefore that has made, I suppose, farmers as a business want to expand more. So there is more demand on agricultural land. Bigger farmers have got bigger, which has put pressure on the smaller farmers who want to kind of maybe hold their own as a family-run business as opposed to a commercial unit. It has made it more expensive, but there's enough still to go around to keep everybody happy.
And Tim, obviously you're running the day-to-day operation of the government in Cork County. What would be your biggest challenge day to day?
I suppose because of the nature of the county, such a diverse county. I mean, you talk about the geographical size of Quincy City. We have 7,500 square kilometres of space to cover. and that ranges from the highly densely populated areas of the metropolitan area right out to the coast, right down to, we have 19% of the coastline of Ireland, which is actually about 1,100 kilometres of coastline. So the real challenge there is in working with the council is to ensure that we get a good fit between the different policies that our councillors want to put in. I mean, clearly you spoke about protecting agricultural land, protecting farmland, so one of the major challenges we have at the moment is ensuring that we don't get into real rural degeneration. Yeah. So we're trying to protect our settlements, we're trying to protect our small towns that might have 7,000 or 8,000 population. We have about 30 of those inside the county. Clearly there's a shift to move everything in towards the metropolitan area, and that's right, of course, but I think looking at the rural areas and those towns in terms of their regeneration, in terms of the use of technology, in particular broadband capacity and speed of access to the internet, etc. Things like that actually are really, really important, and trying to get the infrastructure funding to put into those so that there's equality of growth across the county.
As part of that infrastructure, is it really car dependent over there, or do you have public transportation?
Oh, we have public transportation, but there's quite an amount of dependency on cars. I suppose we don't have any particular light rail system. I think the density of population still isn't there to support that. There is a plan certainly within the metropolitan area to deliver a light rail system of about maybe 20-22 kilometres long, but that requires the population of that area to go perhaps from about 300,000 in there up to maybe about 500,000 to ensure that it's economically viable. And there's a very high quality bus service, exceptionally high quality bus service, and we're putting a lot of emphasis, particularly in the metropolitan area again, in the development of cycleways and greenways, and getting more people onto, I suppose, cycling as a means to try and to cut down on traffic movement.
Now we're obviously doing a taping for what's called Quincy Access Television, and Quincy Access Television covers all the governmental meetings. So the city council meetings are held. They're covered. The school committee meetings are covered. License board, and from time to time, other boards can be covered. License board always seems to be a fun one because there's all different types of businesses going before the board for approvals or where they may get in trouble. But do you have that kind of technology? Are the government meetings covered locally on a cable station or?
Local government wouldn't be, like our county council meetings in the chamber wouldn't be. They'd be open to the public. Yep. There's a public gallery where they can come in and listen to what the meetings, I suppose, what's conducted in the meetings, and the press, the media would sit in and they'd report on what discussions we have and what decisions we make. National Parliament is televised and it is recorded, so we'd have access to all the debates in the Irish Parliament. But we don't have that luxury, if you want to call it that, at local government level. The press would come in, or the cameras would come in at some stages if there's a big issue, a topical issue to be covered, but just on a visual. The debate would never be recorded or transmitted, but just it would, I suppose, record that there was a special meeting held in Cork, and whatever the outcome was would be written in the media. But it's just National Parliament is the main focus for recording and televising national debate.
55 members.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you keep a meeting going on for days?
It's doable. You'll be surprised. Yes, it's a big chamber, it's a big membership, but I think the unique thing about Cork, and as the Chief Executive has outlined, we're a people person, and me as Mayor, I know each of those 55 members individually. I know their characteristics, and when they come into a chamber, we have our agenda, we have our motions, and I would know in particular the approach they'd have, or the view they'd have about a particular issue or concern, and how that would be received in the chamber. Like, so you have an advantage of knowing your members and knowing what, I suppose, how they operate. And yes, there is very hefty debates in the chamber, and that's good. We welcome that, having open debate and discussion. At the end of the day, we kind of put politics to one side and we debate the issues relevant to the communities and the people at large in the communities.
I hope some of those city councils may be watching this heard that. Politics aside.
Politics aside, yes, we do play politics to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, it's the issues is what we debate, and we try to get the best outcome we can for the communities that we represent. And as I say, having that heated debate is a good thing because it gets us to air our views and our concerns, our issues.
that we decentralise a lot of our decision making down to the municipal districts. So the 8 municipal districts meet and they will deal with all of the local issues. So when we meet as a council of 55 every second week, so 26 meetings in the year, and in fact another monthly meeting which is held in camera then as well, where there's no press. That's where we get our real business done. So you're dealing with highly strategic issues when the entire 55 membership of the council.
I know we're going to break in just a minute to add another guest to the show, but before I do that, you spoke of some of the tourism and some of the assets we have here. So I'm going to Cork. What do you want to show me?
Oh, I want to show you a number of things. First of all, I want to show you in particular West Cork, the coastline of West Cork, the villages, the communities down there, the fantastic scenery and the headlands, which is right out onto the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, Mizzen Head is the most westerly point of Europe and the nearest point of Europe to the United States. That's right down in County Cork. We want to show you the city, fabulous city of about 120, 130,000 people, really compact, beautiful markets inside there, etc. The other thing we'd want to show you, I think, would be the harbour. The harbour is superb, and within the harbour, we have a new tourism attraction ourselves called Spike Island. Spike Island was the area through which an awful lot of convicts were held in prisons back in the 1800s and were transported out to Tasmania, America, etc. And as well as that cove down in the harbour was the major point of departure for all Irish immigrants out to Ellis Island in particular, down New York and in here as well. That harbour is incredible. Spike Island, in fact, was nominated and got the award for the best tourism destination in Europe only last November.
Wow, that's pretty prestigious.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to getting there at some point. So at this point, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Well, let me do this. I think I'd like to read the agreement, then we're going to hear from the mayor and the CEO of Cork County. Seeing Quincy, you're very fortunate with efficiencies. I happen to be the mayor and CEO, So it's whereas the City of Quincy, Massachusetts and Cork County intend to enter into an economic development agreement, and whereas many Irish immigrants have made a home in Quincy, a great majority of whom have immigrated directly from County Cork, and whereas this agreement will foster economic development benefits for both parties in the key areas of business, education, and tourism, and whereas several years of exploration were dedicated to create this exciting opportunity and enrich the relationship between the two regions, ultimately optimizing the expressed areas of synergy. Now, therefore, the City of Quincy and Cork County Council, through their respective agents, consent herewith to formalize this agreement and promote economic prosperity through commerce, education, and travel to benefit generations for decades to come. That is the document with some more detail that each of us will be signing today.
As Mayor has outlined, a very exciting evening here this evening, and a very exciting event taking place between two very similar communities. And we're going to sign an economic development agreement, and it's a partnership. It's to come in together. And I suppose when we think back, I suppose in the opportunities that came together when the Irish came here all those years ago, we kind of have gone full circle in the sense that here we are now, I suppose, entering a new venture again with two communities coming together, realising opportunities that we have to offer on both sides of the Atlantic. And
just to give you a feel for Cork County itself, we have a population of 540,000 people. We're about 1/10 of the state, or of the Irish state. And to put us into figures, I suppose, interestingly, Mayor, you have 9 city councillors here. I have to face 55 councillors elected every second week, and the third Friday as well of every month. While the mayor controls the councillors, I have to answer them. So between the relationship here with Quincy and what Quincy has to offer, we had a fantastic tour earlier today around, and I was blown away actually by the tourism. I didn't realise the extent of the history of Quincy and its link to the presence of the United States through the Adams, etc. So there's a phenomenal opportunity between both sides as well to develop the tourism link. So other than that, thank you, and thank you to everybody from your side.
Was that? There's a back page to that. Welcome back to City View. We have a lot to talk about. We'll never cover it all on the show, but there's been teams working on where we are today. That's been going for several months now, and we're grateful to the Quincy team, the Quincy Chamber, Tim Cahill, Margaret LaForest, Maureen Gary, and special shout out to Laura Hamilton for all the work she's done. But I know, Mayor, you have a team, and I know we're being joined by one of your team members. Maybe you can introduce Sharon.
Do indeed. We're joined today by Sharon Corcoran, and Sharon is Director of the Economic Development section of Cork County Council, and has been instrumental in, I suppose, in organising the itinerary for us here this week, and working very closely with Laura Hamilton. So she's very instrumental in getting this all up and going, and working with the Chief Executive over the last 24 months. So she's really the right person, and very dynamic and very driven in this region. So we're very lucky to have Sharon in this position. So she's really bringing all the pluses to the fruition of how this whole thing has come together.
Sure. Well, welcome, Sharon.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about your role.
Thank you to our own mayor, first of all. I have to come all the way out to Quincy to hear beautiful comments like that. Thank you. Tell you about my role. I'm Director of Economic Development and Tourism for the County of Cork. I report directly to our Chief Executive, who runs the executive arm of Cork County Council. I suppose I have to thank our Chief Executive and our Mayor for having the foresight to allow me to get on with this. And then I'd like to thank Laura Hamilton, because Laura has been instrumental in just introducing us to the people of Quincy. Mm-hmm. And I suppose, like everything else, partnerships, they only work because of people. And the people here have been so welcoming. I mean, I don't want to start naming people, because I know I'll certainly forget people. Sure. But it's just the welcome here has been so warm, it has allowed me to get on with my job. And I suppose my primary objective here was to get this economic development partnership agreement across the line, to ensure that economic development, tourism and education, that they're all inside in that agreement. And I suppose our objective now, or our challenge, is to deliver on all three fronts. Mm-hmm. We've had a fantastic tour this morning of Quincy College and Quincy High. Mm-hmm. We are really, really impressed with the facilities here in Quincy. Just the sheer scale of opportunity for students across all spectrums: academia, trades, vocations, etc. We visited some of the classrooms. They were dissecting little piglets. We got some nice photographs. We spoke to the Director of Nursing, who's training care assistants and nursing assistants. So what a wonderful opportunity for anyone living in this city and their children.
We're very proud of our school system.
I'm sure you are.
And I know I speak to my colleagues in government when we say that. There's been a lot of investment, as it should be. There's nothing more important we do in local government, really, than educating our young people. So I'm glad to hear that. So you work directly for Tim. Do you also have a board? I know we have with our chamber, there's a board. There's a lot of private sector involvement.
Yep. Well, within the local authorities in Ireland, Cork County Council in particular, we have a number of what are called SPCs. They're Strategic Policy Committees. So represented on those committees will be a number of the elected members, but also the private sector. So the Hotels Federation, Cork Airport, maybe the Port of Cork, the Chamber of Commerce. So yes, we work hand in hand to develop policy. Yeah. When that policy is developed at that committee level, then it goes forward to the full council to be adopted. And then our Chief Executive finds money for us and gives us the imprimatur to go ahead and do what we have to do. So from the ground up, people are involved, yeah.
And I probably should put the plug in. This direct flight from Cork to Providence, and it's pretty efficient and pretty inexpensive.
Absolutely.
There's your plug.
Like, we are so excited. We were here December 2016. I was here as my Chief Executive, and the Mayor was with us here at the time. And it was announced the week after we left here. Now, it wasn't, obviously there had been lots and lots of work over the previous months. Our timing, though, was fortunate and opportune. It has been so fantastic for Cork and for the region, not just Cork City and Cork County, but just for the Southwest region generally. It's Norwegian Air. They fly from Providence into Cork, which is a national international airport. It has allowed us direct and easy access, and I suppose it's inexpensive. Yeah. It's going to open up all of Cork County, because heretofore people coming from the States had to fly into Shannon or to Dublin and then travel to Cork, but now they can come straight into Cork. Cork City is the gateway of both Ireland's ancient east, which is the east coast, and the wild Atlantic way, which is the west coast. And Cork County is just such a varied county, varied in terms of landscape, tourism, food, the people. There's so much there for the people to see. And we're working very closely with the airport to ensure that route is promoted. A member of my team was out here 2 weeks ago with some of your people here, just promoting the route generally and doing sales calls to tour operators and sales and travel agents, just making people aware, look, you can fly from Providence direct to Cork. And as I understand it, and I think Laura Hamilton will back me up on this, the flight gets in early. So they're ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, and Tim, I know you were mentioning there's a September trip the Chamber's putting together to go over and talk a little bit about the food festival, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose in some ways the Chamber organised September trip is one of the first major events that has manifested itself out of this partnership already. Already I think it was only launched last night at a reception. And already we understand people are absolutely lining up to come. But it's a week-long event. In fact, just to add to the Norwegian airline flight direct to Cork, it's only 5 hours. You take off at 9 o'clock in the evening, and you're in Cork at 8 a.m. in the following morning, allowing for the time difference. Is an incredible opportunity. But the Taste of West Cork Food Festival, which runs for about 10 days long, across every community in West Cork, and I'm talking about a region now which has I suppose from one point to the other, it's perhaps about 120 miles of with maybe up to probably 15 to 20 different major settlements in it, coastline, agricultural land, etc. That Taste of West Cork Food Festival is internationally renowned, in particular in Europe, with visiting culinary experts, visiting chefs from all over Europe, and top quality chefs from Ireland as well.
Which is more of a recent phenomenon. Historically, I mean, you go back, I was in Ireland 30 years ago, but you go back 3-4 decades, the menus weren't too varied, and there wasn't a whole lot of selection.
No, absolutely, but now, for example, there are, I think there's about 750 artisan food producers in the entire country. 50% of those are based in Cork.
Wow.
And most of them are based in West Cork. So that will show you the quality of the food stuff. As well as that, I suppose it comes from even the educational system. Cork Institute of Technology have their own food, culinary section in there.
Yeah.
So, and we've been highly influenced, obviously, because we're a small nation, we've been highly influenced by our own people going abroad and coming back, but also by immigrants coming into the country as well.
Sure.
And we're a very open economy, so because of that, the whole food offering, food tourism has become a major part of our offering.
Well, we're coming toward the end of the time we have allotted for the show, so I'm going to put you each on the spot. So 30 or 40 seconds, what do you want to get out of this agreement?
What I want to see are two things. I think, well, three, cover them all. We're certainly looking at the potential for cross-Atlantic sharing of student partnerships, etc. That's one, certainly. I think big on my agenda would be the opportunity for Irish companies, small startups, to come here to Quincy, to utilise the incubation space and the innovation centre that the Chamber are involved in as a landing point for them to see whether or not they can successfully grow into the market here. But also to offer opportunity for small startup companies in particular to perhaps come to Cork and come to Ireland and understand the business system there, because Ireland is a superb base for further access into Europe. English speaking, once Brexit is concluded, we will be the only English speaking country in the EU, and that's a real plus for locating a business in Ireland. They would be two major ones that I'd be thinking of.
Okay. For a guy in a private business and a public side, you owe your success to others and utters. What do you have to say, Mayor? What are you looking forward to?
I think it's just the building of friendships and relationships, and I think you alluded to it at the beginning, Mayor. It's just that feeling of family. The minute we landed here, we felt at home. We are here today, Tim, myself and Sharon. We're on foreign soil, but we feel at home, and that's a very special feeling to have. And I think we need to build on that. So that's my hope and aspiration out of this partnership and agreement, is that we build on what I suppose the foundations that our predecessors laid down here when they came to Boston and to Quincy all those years ago. I think we have a duty to build on that, and certainly what we've experienced here in the last few days certainly has I think enforced that foundation that has been put down, and this is going to be a beautiful friendship that's going to, I think, deliver lots of prosperity for both Cork and for Quincy.
Well said. Can you top that, Sharon?
No, not really. But
Give it a shot.
Maybe I'll just strengthen it. Just in the area of education, definitely, as our Chief Executive said, I'd love to see students from Quincy come over to Ireland, come over to Cork, and I'd love to see Cork students come over here to Quincy to open their minds and open their experience, both in terms of personal development and educational development. Tourism, I think, look, we've already started on tourism. The flight is there. We know that there's a tour coming in September, so I think that won't be so difficult to sell, because once you come to Ireland, you know, you'll come again, and certainly we'll come back to Quincy. On the business relationship side of things, that's probably the biggest challenge, but we've started already with the Mass Challenge programme, which we're running presently with Mass Challenge in Boston. But the fact that we have this partnership agreement now, particularly with the Chamber here in Quincy and with the Quincy Innovation Centre, it would be fantastic if we could bring small startups over here to spend a few weeks here, spend a few months here, have a landing space, and let them experience the business culture here. That really is what I hope to get out of it. And yeah, we will. We won't let it stop.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Mayor Koch. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate you being here. Mayor, it's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to catching up with you both when we get over to Cork, if not September, maybe before. So we're looking forward to great prosperity from this agreement for both sides. So thank you again, and thanks for tuning in. More to follow in future programs here on City View.